Support for today's video comes from Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Use code TIFO at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. There's been a 1-year delay, and the merchandise might be 12 months out of date, but Euro 2020 is finally here, and it will be the 16th running of a competition which dates back to 1960. Only 17 teams took part in the qualification for what was then known as the European Nations Cup. The Soviet Union, Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia emerged to join host nation France in a final four for 2 games across 5 days, with the Soviets, who had the legendary Lev Yashin in goal, winning the final 1-0 against Yugoslavia in front of barely 17,000 fans at the Parc des Princes. In 1964, Spain became the first side to host and win the tournament, this time when Marcelino scored the winning goal in the 2-1 final win over the defending Soviet Union. That was with 79,000 watching inside the Santiago Bernabeu. In 1968, the Nations Cup became the European Championship. Like Spain 4 years before, Italy would host and win, but only after getting through their semi-final on a coin toss. Their game with the Soviet Union had finished goalless after extra time, so the two captains descended to the dressing rooms of Napoli's San Paolo Stadium. In front of 2 UEFA officials, Giacinto Facchetti correctly called heads and Italy were through to the final, where they would beat Yugoslavia. In 1972, the tournament moved to Belgium, and West Germany made their first appearance, immediately winning behind the goals of Gerd Müller and with a team that included Franz Beckenbauer, Paul Breitner and Jupp Heynckes. In 1976, penalties were used to decide a game, famously so. Czechoslovakia and West Germany had drawn 2-2 in the final, and it was 4-3 from the spot when Uli Hoeneß blasted his effort over the bar into the Belgrade night. Antonin Panenka took 5th for the Czechs, and his impudent chip not only won the match, but made Panenka an immortal. In 1980, 4 teams became 8, and a group stage was used for the first time. West Germany won the second of their titles, beating Belgium in a final in Rome, but hooliganism blighted the tournament. Hundreds of Italian and English fought on the streets of Turin before tear gas had to be used to disperse fighting supporters during England's game with Belgium. 1984 saw the tournament return to France, where the regal Michel Platini led the hosts to the trophy. 9 goals from centre midfield, a captain's performance from comfortably the best player in the world. He'd win the second of his 3 consecutive Ballon d'Ors that year. 1988 had its emblem too, when Marco van Basten scored his impossible volley to complete a 2-0 win over the Soviet Union. The Soviets would never be seen again as the Eastern Bloc fractured. The Netherlands would never win anything again either. This remains the first and only trophy in their history. 1992 would be all about Denmark. They weren't even supposed to be in the tournament, and had only made it as a last-minute replacement for Yugoslavia, who were disqualified after the country's collapse. Peter Schmeichel would save a Van Basten penalty in the semi-final shootout before John Jensen and Kim Wilfert goals in the final against Germany would complete a fairy tale. 1996 was groundbreaking. Beyond Paul Gascoigne's goal against Scotland and Gareth Southgate's penalty miss, it was the first time golden goal extra time had been used in a major competition. Reliably, the Germans took advantage, with Oliver Bierhoff scoring that sudden death tiebreaker past Czech keeper Petr Kuba at Wembley. And it would happen again 4 years later. This time, David Trezeguet's volley won the final for France after Sylvain Wiltord had denied Italy with a 93rd minute equaliser. In 2004, 80-1 outsiders Greece shocked the world. Otto Rehagel's stubborn, disciplined team overcame the Czech Republic and France 1-0 in the quarter and semi-finals respectively, before Angelos Charisteas' header defeated host nation Portugal in a stunning upset. 2008 was a magnificent tournament, full of comebacks and late goals. Spain won, beginning a dominance at that level that would culminate at the World Cup 2 years later. Fernando Torres was the difference over Germany in the Vienna final, but it was a competition full of comebacks and late goals. 2012 of course took us to Poland and Ukraine, where Spain were again much too good for everyone, becoming the first team in history to successfully defend a European Championship and also the first in history to win 3 international tournaments back to back to back. In 2016, the Euros returned to France. Russian and English supporters fought on the streets of Marseille. Wales marked their debut at the tournament with an unlikely run to the semi-finals, and Antoine Griezmann scored twice as many goals as any other player. France wouldn't win it though. Eder's extra-time thunderbolt stunned Hugo Lloris, winning Portugal their first international title, despite Cristiano Ronaldo limping off lame in the first half. Of course, Ronaldo will be back in 2021. And so will France, who are arguably more talented than they were 5 years ago and are deservedly favourites for this anniversary edition of the tournament, which will tour through 11 different European cities on its way to a final in London. Today's video was sponsored by Manscaped, and I'm here to tell you to use the right tools for a very important job. Now, we all know about the classic lawnmower 3.0 for trimming below the belt, but Manscaped haven't stopped there. What about the Weed Whacker? This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent those nicks, snags and tugs so you can look forward to whacking those weeds. And what about the Crop Preserver? It's an anti-chafing deodorant and moisturizer. Now that it's starting to heat up outside, you can make sure that you're gliding around smoothly. There's also the Crop Reviver, a spray-on toner with a super fresh smell, and even a new refined cologne signature scent, so that you can smell good and feel good this spring. So, please visit manscaped.com and use the offer code TIFO to get 20% off and free shipping. Because it's spring cleaning time, and your balls will thank you.